So, question to you, Anna, what happens if you don't formalise a property settlement properly following a separation, especially where assets are in your ex's name?
So I think the number one thing to consider here is time limits. So where you've been in a de facto relationship, you have 2 years from the date of separation to make a property division claim in the court. If that 2 years passes and you haven't negotiated an outcome or got an outcome through the courts, then you're effectively out of time and you're not entitled to seek a property division. So therefore the assets remain in your ex's name. Unless you can establish that there should be an exemption to that time limit, and you should be able to make a claim, which is an expensive and often quite complex application. So there's 2 years in the case of a de facto relationship. With marriage, it's a year from the date of divorce. So if you don't get divorced, and in the case of a marriage, then it can go on for some years and you don't need to be too concerned about any time limits expiring. But even still, if after separation these assets remain in your ex's name for some time, then what can happen is that they sell them, firstly, and spend the proceeds on non-sort of assets like travel and things like that, so that the property pool's entirely eroded or values can change. And particularly that where there's been a long period since separation, so the property pool, that if you eventually go to have a property division after that long period of time, what we're looking at is the property that exists at the time of the division is what needs to be divided. So there can be real valuation issues around that, and also it really complicates things if there's been a long period since separation.
And what's happened during that time?
Exactly. So who's contributed to those assets?
And what if you've acquired assets as well?
Exactly. What if you're in a new relationship or the other party's in a new relationship? So definitely not a good idea to let time just go on after separation. It's always something that you should be considering before separation if you can, or immediately after.
Yep.